Obviously, Bad Boys 4, Ride or Die came out. And because this is the follow up after the 2020 release, Bad Boys 3, Bad Boys for Life. That's really what this one should have been. And I was thinking at first, okay, they're a little up there in age. Do I really want to see this? But, I knew I was going to want to watch it anyway. But I was out of town this weekend, so I hadn't had a chance to see it yet. But I've been hearing a lot of good reviews. I haven't heard anything bad, really. I see they made 56 million in the opening weekend, which for today's standards, where people don't go to the theaters as often as we used to, that's pretty good. So the movie was successful. And I've been seeing all of these promos, and Will Smith's been doing these interviews, and he's everywhere. And they haven't mentioned the Chris Rock thing. Me personally, I kind of forgot about it. I actually have. You know what I mean? I know some people are like, and Stephen A. obviously in his video are kind of like bothered by that still. And some people are boycotting the movie because they don't think, they didn't like the idea of a black man slapping another black man in front of all of these people at the Oscars. And I'm like, okay, if you see it that way, hey, it's subjective. Everybody got different viewpoints. That's why we get on here and talk. I looked at it like these two knew each other. They were friends or whatever. Chris made a joke. Will actually laughed, thought it was funny like everyone else. Saw his wife's reaction. I guess he had to go full Tupac. Wasn't cool, but it couldn't have happened to a better person with credibility-wise because it's Chris Rock. It is a comedian. He is very self-deprecating. His style of comedy, he's 5'8", maybe 100 pounds soaking wet after he eats a meal. So it's believable that even if they did have a fight, it's believable. But nonetheless, Stephen A. Smith is very bothered, and he's had a rough 2024. Last week, he had to go at it with Monica McNutt, which is a wild name. He had to go at it with all of the girls from ESPN for his stance on them. He caught heat from black people for his co-signment of Trump, the way it was kind of taken across. Like, oh, y'all relate to Trump because he's a felon and this and that. So he's had a lot of heat. And now he's kind of throwing some of that on Will. And he's saying that first of all, I don't know why Stephen A. thinks he speaks for the black community, but he thinks he does. And this is his message on why he hasn't wanted to see the movie and why he feels Will Smith owes more accountability.
When we use the word forgivable or forgiveness, that's for Chris Rock to deal with. It's his call. He could have had the man arrested that night and insisted to the LAPD that not be the case. Could have pressed charges thereafter and insisted on not doing that to Will Smith, not making the incident any bigger than what it was. Yes, he came out with his own flick for next fix, got about 20 million for it. After tax, he probably walked home with about 6. But Chris Rock is damaged. In the day and age of mental illness or traumatic incidences that affects one's mind and psyche and what have you, yeah, you might see him at Knicks games. Yeah, you might see him still going about the business of performing on tour or doing his job or handling his business. Chris Rock will never get over that. Ever. Will Smith apologized. I'm not saying he even has to apologize. I'm saying that while I watch him and Martin Lawrence promoting this movie, and I'm quite sure the reason he hasn't addressed it is because the studios don't want him to, and there's an obligation that you have with them, all fair. I get it. But somewhere along the way, he has to sit down and talk to the black community. You can see all the white people around Will Smith all you want to. Black folks have loved and revered this man for decades. He was the closest thing to perfection, as his friend Charlie Mack once told me, for decades. Everybody makes a mistake. This is not hatred. I love Will Smith still. But you got to have a conversation.
All right, so that's some of his message. He goes on and he's saying about mental health. And I'm like, okay, now look, I don't know. Because I've never been slapped in front of a million people. I've never been embarrassed to that level. I've never experienced that level of humiliation. So maybe you got a point. Maybe people just looking at it like, man, get out of here. You know what I mean? Because like I say, it was a comedian. And it happened we live in a world where things go. The news cycle is crazy. I honestly did not even think about that. I thought to myself, I need to see at least one Chris Rock joke in this movie. They avoided it completely. Will is not speaking on this at all. Stephen A. thinks they need to do a sit down interview. I guess like the Kobe and Shaq sit down they did years ago on TNT, Players Only, something like that. They need to have a sit down. What are they gonna air it on BET? Will and maybe they could do it on Instagram or Facebook. Will and Chris Rock sit down. Maybe Jada should do that. Jada does the red carpet. Does she still do that? The red carpet podcast, or they was doing all them weird interventions, mother, daughter, and all of that weird stuff. Maybe they could sit these two down because all three of them, maybe that'll break the internet. Will, Jada, and Chris just chop it up. Maybe that'll give the people the closure that they need. I just don't think it's that serious to not, watch any movie he ever does for life. Like, I was gonna boycott. I was like, that didn't even cross my mind. But hey, I mean, I wasn't humiliated and slapped in front of 8 million people either. But yeah, Stephen A. continues on.
You did that. And when you're apologizing, and when you're getting emotional, and when you're thinking about all the lives or the people that you've affected, it's primarily us as Black people who have loved and supported you and watched you go on an international stage and slap one of us in the face and tarnished an historic event for one of the great Black producers of modern times in Will Packer, possibly costing yourself and Antoine Fuqua an Oscar for emancipation along the way. I'm not going to say what you did to the comedic community. Hell, Jim Carrey spoke about that along with various others. We know you wouldn't have smacked Ricky Gervais, Bill Maher, Bill Burr, or a host of others. We know you wouldn't have done that. No apology necessary. I'm just saying, a lot of folks ain't get over that. A lot of folks find it hard to just go to the movies to watch you. I'm one of those people. And I never missed a Will Smith movie.
Yo, so yeah, Stephen A. is throwing that heat on Will Smith, man. He got a valid point with the comedian stuff though, because if that is Bill Burr or Bill Maher or Jimmy Fallon, does he get up and slap him silly and walk off like that and flex his collar? Probably not. You got a point with that. And there are some people who actually are on that. My pops was on that. I was like, yo, you want to go see? Nah, I ain't messing with that. Nah. Some people are really like, they ain't rocking with it. I mean, I don't care. You know what I mean? Everybody stand for something. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with it. I mean, if that's how you feel, because you got points to it. It's valid points to everything. It is entertainment. But yeah, I don't think Will is slapping Jim Carrey if that's the same situation. But at the same time, maybe that comedian doesn't make that joke. Who knows? Obviously, like I said, Chris Rock and Will, they knew each other. Were friends allegedly. So I guess Chris felt comfortable enough that he could take jokes at his homeboy's wife, I guess. I don't know. I think they should just do the sit down interview, Kobe and Shaq. Go ahead, get it over with, you know what I mean? Do it with Jada, however, and let everybody be at peace. Because it ain't that serious. I mean, it's really, when you think about it in context, but yeah, that image, to a lot of people, it bothers them. I don't watch the Oscars, I don't care, but some people will say, well, if 5 million white people saw this, and I don't live in that world. I wasn't even watching the show when it happened. I found out about it like everybody else on my Twitter page. You know what I mean? Keep it a buck with you. The video went viral. But hey, this is actually a good topic. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. If y'all agree with Stephen A's stance, or if y'all just like, man, what the hell, whatever. We got over it. We watched the movie. It was good. Because that's what I've been hearing for the most part. A lot of people enjoyed it. The movie. It's escapism. It's entertainment, and more people are more intrigued into that than they are, race relations. And that's how it is in 2024. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I'm out of here.